Hello, everybody. So I wanted to come on here really quickly and do a quick live to share my thoughts about Perez Hilton and the USS Abraham Lincoln. So here is the story. So the USS Abraham Lincoln is a really interesting one because I think it was last week. Let me see. I think it was last week that I saw that some of the families had started to talk to Congress, petition Congress, to let them know that, hey, our relatives at sea are saying that something, is going on. Um, and so I'm reading here from The Guardian. It says military families and Congress members are sounding the alarm about an intensifying mental health crisis aboard the USS Abraham Lincoln as its 5,000 sailors and Marines endure a record breaking deployment at sea tied to the war in Iran. And so they have been deployed for a pretty long time, and so it says the crew is in its ninth month at sea and has spent 250 days consecutively without making land, a record for an aircraft carrier in modern times. Worried families vent their anxieties about their loved ones on board, and the Lincoln at an emotional town hall. So they talked at a town hall in San Diego last Thursday. Yeah, so that's when we started hearing about the relatives coming out and talking about this. And apparently, some of the sailors, some of the Marines, some of the guys that are on board. Remember, it's 5,000. That's a lot of people, and so some of them have tried to jump overboard. And there's a report from one of the wives that says that she didn't get any notification about this for several days after it happened. And so there are just some things that are going on. And I wish that the government would just say, instead of denying and saying, oh, they're making more, they're making it sound worse than it is, and all those different things. I wish they would just say, you know what, thank you for letting us know. We're going to investigate. We're going to go on board and see what's happening. This is a time when there is war. The ships are at sea. There are all of these different things going on. So to deny that there's something wrong, it just makes everything more false. And of course, there are lots of things going on with this administration. So it would be better for their narrative if they just say, you know what, we're going to assess the situation. We're going to make things better. We're going to do the repairs, and just give the families something to look forward to, something to pay attention to that is not them just leaning towards, trying to give them false hope, or to, at this point, majority of what they say may just look like they're lying. And so I'm hoping that I'm hoping that everything that the ships are brought back and these men are given the care that they need. We know that once our military men go to war, men and women go to war, that sometimes, when they come back, they don't receive all of the care that they deserve and all the care they should be getting from the VA. I know that in my work as a counselor, I've encountered some vets, and the insurance, the TRICARE insurance alone is something that just is frustrating for the ordinary provider. The VA wants to keep the vets within their system, and I guess it is understandable. But if the system is already overwhelmed, then a vet should be able to seek care wherever they can get the care, from a professional that's got all the credentials, obviously, and all of those things. But it is very, very hard for them to get the care outside of the VA, and things like that. Even like inpatient stays and various things like that. It takes a lot of paperwork and things like that to make that happen. And so I'm hoping that these soldiers can be brought back to land and that they can get the care and the things that they need. I hope that they are not shamed for what they're going through. It's being deployed for that long on the sea is much different than being deployed on land. And so I hope that something better happens with this case. And I hope the government can just take responsibility and do the thing you need to do to take care of the soldiers and put the families, heart at ease. All right, let me jump to Perez Hilton. So he is the gentleman who this was earlier this month. I think it was like the 4th. Don't quote me on the date, but he did a live stream where he was causing injury to himself. And so the family came and they saw what was happening. They left the scene and they called the police, and the police came and they took him to the hospital. So he is currently hospitalized. One of the things that they've said is that his injuries were serious enough to where he's going to need surgery. There was a lot of damage that was done. And so he's going to need surgery. He's going to need, long-term medical care. And so his mother is petitioning the court for her to get custody over the children. Um, Let me see. Let me Google it and see um, if she um, is asking for full custody or just temporary custody. Is asking for full custody or temporary. Temporary. Let's see what it says. So it says that Perez Hilton's mother is filing for temporary legal custody of the 3 minor children following his hospitalization during mental health crisis. He voluntarily signed consent to the temporary arrangement, acknowledging in court documents that it is in the best interest of the children. And it says here that she filed for it on the 7th. And it says here that yeah, I mean, the fact that he voluntarily did this shows that he really does care about the safety and the concern of his children. And so that's really good. I'm glad that he gave, her the temporary custody, and it's not going to be a huge thing. I think even he himself realizes that his actions were dire and that he needs to take care of himself, and the children also need that stability that would come with being with their grandmother. The children are all school age, so as you know, all around the nation, schools opening right now. And so knowing that the children are all school age and all those different things, I'm glad that he was able to sign over custody, and it's not going to be that big a deal. It's not going to be that huge of an issue. So I am really, really glad. But yeah, so those are the two things that I wanted to talk about. I'd like to do more lives. We'll see how that goes. But if you're watching this when it's already done, leave a comment and let me know what you guys think. But yeah, Perez Hilton, it sounds like he's going to be in the hospital for quite a while, and his mother is going to be the one that is caring for the children. I did hear people say, how come she just didn't keep them uh, instead of filing the paperwork? It's much better to file the paperwork and have the paper trail that says that she's going to be the one that's, having the temporary custody of the children. There are some matters that have to do with CPS and the government and child care and, child neglect, child abuse, all of the things. And it's good that she has the paper trail that says, yes, their father has granted me their father is open to the children being here with me, and the courts agree to all of these things. It also allows for the court and child protective services to make sure that her home is safe. That's another thing. And so the idea that her home is also safe is something that needs to be paid attention to as well. So, all right, guys, thank you so much for listening. Let me know what you think about these two stories, and I will talk to you guys soon. All right.